Hi, everyone. Lisa here with Do Something Indy, and I was all set up and ready to come to you live from our front porch that overlooks our garden. And then we have been blessed with a really significant pop-up shower. And so I had to quickly come inside and I can see the garden out the dining room window, but you can't see it. So that's okay. Maybe by the time we finish the show, it'll stop raining and I can walk out and finish it. We'll see. But tonight's show is one of those really random happenstance kinds of things. And I don't want to give too much away because you'll see that in the video I explain what happened, but it just was such a blessing. And I wanted to share it with all of you. This is a little secret place right now. I don't think many people know about it. He hasn't gotten any media coverage. And so we are really grateful that he was willing to talk to us and to share his story. And now we're going to share it with you. And so you guys will reap the benefits of this, pun intended. So, producer Johnny, take it to the next video.
Hey, Lisa here with Do Something Indy, and our show is about an amazing place on the west side of Indianapolis. I just happened to be driving down Rockville Road yesterday and had to turn around, and there's a lot of construction on Rockville. If you've driven west of 465, you've seen it. And as I turned around in this neighborhood, I see this home with an amazing garden in their front yard full of flowers. And then as I turn down their side street, there's an amazing garden in the back with a little sign that says fresh picked flowers, open today. And of course I had to pull in. So what turned into just a random stop turned into a great conversation with this man who has started this beautiful little spot and plot of land. And that is what the story is about today, and how he is living out Do Something Indy right in his own backyard, literally. Okay. So enjoy the show. Lisa with Do Something Indy, and I'm here with Scott Brewer. Hi, Scott. Thanks for taking a couple of minutes to tell us about what you have going on here. So we're seeing all these beautiful flowers in the background, but tell me what this is.
Well, this is just a way to have a contribution to my community and the world. I do that by, I can't control global warming, but I can control the population or the ecosystem in my yard. And flowers attract bees and butterflies and dragonflies and all kinds of birds come after that. So it's just a way to enjoy something beautiful and help our world by helping myself in what I can control.
Yeah, well, it's absolutely beautiful. So tell me what the gig is. You have an open sign out on your driveway, and so when people pull in, what do?
Well, hopefully they come up to the door and then they tell me what size bouquet they want. I've got them for $10 and $20. For $10 you get 12 stems. For $20 you get 25, and the sunflowers are $3 per flower.
Per flower, per head. So we see he has zinnias and cosmos and sunflowers and all kinds of beautiful, beautiful things. So tell me how you got started. Like, you had the idea, but then how did you actually do it?
Well, I started with the front part of my yard, which is a natural preserve area, and I just started, I didn't want to have just mowing grass, and I saw that it was sterile basically.
Yeah.
You know, so I have a rototiller.
Yeah.
And I prepared that and started buying wildflower mixes and putting them in. And after 3 or 4 years, I got that designated by the county as a natural area. But this last winter, I was thinking that I spend so much money on seed, and I try to get perennials. Annuals are really some of the most beautiful flowers.
Right.
So you have to reseed over the perennials every year. And I was like, well, why don't I just try selling some flowers? And so I got a hold of a gentleman this spring, and he had a tractor with a 5-foot tiller on the back, and I thought that it would be easier for people to harvest and to move between flowers
Right.
if they had this section is one thing, the next section is the
Yeah.
other, and then they could concentrate on whatever they want, but still have a easy access all up and down. And then they get done, they can either pay me cash, or I've got Venmo, and then they can come back for anniversaries or birthdays or whatever they want to do. And it's just a way of having some beauty in your life, and you get the enjoyment of picking the flowers and presenting the gift that you cut by hand.
Absolutely. So I'm a floral designer, and when I saw this as I drove by yesterday, I was like, oh, I have to stop. Like, it's so beautiful. Well, so this is your first year open with these rows of flowers, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, but you've had your front yard for a few years, right?
Right.
So my hope and prayer is that this continues and that people appreciate it as much as I did when I saw it. I can't wait to be able to use some of these beautiful flowers in some of my designs. It's absolutely amazing. Well, so I told you about Do Something Indy. Do Something Indy spotlights people doing great things in their communities. This is a perfect example of that. You are beautifying our world, you're sharing it with others, and it has to bring some joy to your heart too, doesn't it?
Oh, of course it does. It's wonderful to just see nature coming to life. I
Yeah.
mean, I never imagined how many butterflies are actually around, and there's so many variety of bees, not just honeybees.
Right.
And so all of that is enjoying the abundance and acting as natural as possible
Yeah.
ecosystem, and that is a contribution that I can make and control, and hopefully mitigate some of the catastrophes of our natural world by doing my little share.
Yes, if we all do a little part, we all work together. So you're retired, so you're home most of the time. You put out an open and closed sign so people know whether or not you're open, but you're here most days, right?
Yep, I'm generally here most days. I try to get the sign open by 10 o'clock and close it by 6.
Yeah.
So that way, those are good long hours. But if I have to leave to go to the store, I just put up a closed sign. And I'll put a contribution bucket, and if you come by
So
and
tell
I'm
me
not
what you
here,
have in
you
your
can
hands
put your
there.
money in the bag. Indianapolis
so
is
honor
the
system,
International
right.
City of Peace since 2019. In 2019, myself and some of the other organizations around Indianapolis created a resolution, and we got support, and it designated that Indianapolis is a city of peace, and it's following the UN Day of Peace, which is September 21st, and they designated Indianapolis Day of Peace as September 21st also. So
And you put this together.
yes.
That is so awesome. So tell me what you're standing next to as well. And I'm going to come back here. So there we
This
go.
is
We
a
can get
peace
it.
bowl, and you can get a painted peace bowl like this, which is not necessarily, it's printed, but it's based off of art.
Right.
Or if you go to the International Prayer Society, they're the ones that sponsor peace bowls, and they're in all countries, and they're say may peace prevail on earth, and you can get that with as many as 8 languages per poll, and it's a wonderful way to again contribute in your own community and set up a site, and you can go to internationalcitiesofpeace.org. Fred Armand is the president over there. It's out of Dayton, Ohio, and you can find out how you can organize and create an international city of peace, no matter what size community that you live in, anywhere in the world. So let's keep after it and work for betterment, every one of us, and we will have a more peaceful and more wonderful, happy world.
Absolutely. What a great way to end, and amen to that. Thank you so much for your time today. It's been beautiful.
Thank you, Lisa.
producer Johnny. This was just one of the most amazing accidental stops. And nothing's an accident. We all believe there's divine intervention. And I really believe that God wanted me to meet this man. And he hasn't had a chance to share his story. When I asked him if I could interview him for our show, he seemed very humbled and surprised and very willing to do it. So, John, tell me what you thought about this. Because when I sent you a message and said, hey, I have a show for tomorrow night, what did you think?
I didn't know what it was until I started looking at it. Because, I mean, you told me about the flowers that you found. And you were so excited that you're going to pee your pants. But but
I was pretty excited.
Yeah. And then when I saw the video, it's like, he's got a lot of flowers over there. And, he's just sort of doing this because it's something he felt like doing. And it's, like I said, it's perfect for our show. Do something Indy. It's like, it's what you're supposed to be doing. So I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah. And then, one of the things we didn't talk about when I was interviewing him, because I really didn't want to get into that part of it, but I do want to talk about it here with you. So he was describing his front and side yards, which I have a video of that I'll add in the comments at some point. But he has black-eyed Susan and bachelor buttons and coneflower. And so all of these flowers, if any of you know about these flowers, they're all about 3 feet tall. And he described the first couple of years of having that flower garden basically taking up his entire front and side yard so that he doesn't have to mow. But guess what happened? The city
had to mow.
The city cited him because it was overgrowth over 3 feet tall. And he tried to explain to them, no, this is considered a natural habitat. This is all things that I've planted on purpose. It is a garden. It is not an overgrown yard. And so I commiserated with him a little bit on our woes with the city as well. And I told him about how, I don't know if you remember, it was either last year or year before last, we had foxglove growing by the chicken coop. And it gets super tall, like 6 feet tall. And they cited us for overgrowth back there. And I called them and I said, no, I am using that for my floral business. That is natural floral habitat. That is not overgrown weeds. That is there because I want it there. And they finally let us go. But he actually gave me the name of the lady at the city, she's with the county, I believe, who he worked with to get it designated as a natural habitat. And there is a sign in the yard that is one of those official posts that says, this is a natural habitat. This is not to be mowed. But for him to have to go through all that, just as a result of him trying to beautify and give back to the environment and Mother Nature and all that was disappointing, but I was very grateful he was able to get it done. And then he wasn't stalled in his dream of having more and did it in the back as well. So this is his first year. And he was like, I'll just see how it goes. He's doing it because he loves it. He's not doing it to make any money. But basically, he's retired, so he's home almost every day. And he puts the little open sign out. And I'll put a picture of that in the comments, too. And you just go up and knock on the door. It's as simple as that.
Say, here, I'm here for your flowers.
Exactly. But that's his way of wanting to give back. And it's something he can do. So, John, I want to go back a little bit with us and talk about how you have always had this desire to give back. When you and I met, I had worked with a couple of nonprofits, and those were things that I was passionate about. And I've told people for years, if you want to be able to give back in a way that is with an organization you're passionate about, because then it's not like work, and it's a passion project, and it makes you happy. It fills your heart. So tell me about how that was for you before we met.
Oh, well, I've always been involved with either helping somebody or trying to do something besides work, kids, those type of things. And, it's interesting. Before, I never really had anyone to do that with. And then you come along and we, I carry over some of those dreams. And how the art center started was I wanted to move into a rundown neighborhood or a neighborhood that needed some help and buy one of the houses that was boarded up. And back 7, 8 years ago, there was plenty to choose from. There still is plenty, but it's so hard to get a permit now that who wants to do anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So we just would go out after church, look around, and we started noticing that there was built more buildings, a lot of abandoned buildings. And we thought, oh, well, maybe a community center or something like that. So then we happened on the art center, and that was about 7 years ago, and the rest is sort of history. Then we end up moving into the neighborhood and sort of doing the same thing, all that.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. I was at the Friends of the White River meeting and dinner last night up at the. I know some of you've never heard of this, but the White River actually has a yacht club on it. It's up around 75th and Keystone. It's called the White River Yacht Club. So that's where they had their meeting. And I sat with a table of younger people, like I would say they're definitely millennials, a married couple, and and then one of the gals, her husband was at the gym and didn't come, and another married couple, and I'll try to remember their names. It was Andrew and Emily Lang, and then we had Claire, and then we had Peter and Kate, and it was just interesting talking to those folks because the one couple. Peter and Kate, I asked them if they had any kid. I don't think they're going to have any kids. They were like, I don't think we're going to do that. It just doesn't really fit. And I'm like, okay. And I don't think that's very uncommon with couples these days. But they were involved with the White River Project, with helping with the White River. They lived on the White River down by Highland Golf Club there at 42nd and White River area. And it was interesting to see they were passionate about that because this guy was there giving a speech about taking down dams in Indiana, which was somewhat interesting, but not as interesting as they were like really getting into it. It was, and this is one of the things they do. And then Claire was actually with the White River cleanup with me that we did down by Belmont Beach. And she was passionate about that. And then the other couple, Andrew and Emily, they lived closer to the yacht club on the White River. And so they were passionate about making sure the White River is staying clean. And there was a lot of folks there that really have a passion for that project. So, the thing is, do something. And, you could do a lot of different things with a lot of different groups. Just go get plugged in with somebody. But one of the things I was talking to Kathy Albright about was, we serve homeless folks down at the ACLU parking lot every Sunday at 3 p.m. Rain, shine, snow, ice, whatever. We're like the postman. And I asked her, I said, how come, there's people like us that we take care of ourselves. We take care of ourselves. But then we go out and take care of several other people. And yet some of the people that we serve can't even take care of themselves. So it's just sort of an interesting deal on what makes people not want to take care of themselves or be, I don't know if it's selfish or if it's, I don't know what it is, and what makes other people give extra. And I guess that's what makes the world go round. But I think that sometimes when people go into the extra, it makes them feel better about giving back something. And I think that that's video that we just watched with Scott Brewer was one of those things where he just wanted to do something that would maybe make somebody smile or, flowers. You're in the flower business. I've heard these brides call you up and,
my shirt says grow positive vibes. He's growing positive vibes right in his own backyard. And and so I think that speaks to everything you were just talking about, whether it's us or the people that you've met, the people that I've met in various organizations. They've decided to do something, but they've decided to choose something that they have control over and that they can have an impact on, even if it's small. And that's what he said yesterday. He said, I'm not doing much, but I'm doing what I can with my own little plot of land. And what he's doing, goodness, as I stood there, the butterflies and the bees and the dragonflies and yellow finches. I wish I'd gotten this on video. The yellow finches were landing in the flowers. it was just incredible. And I said to him after we finished, I said, "Do you ever just pull up a chair and just sit and watch?" And he said, "I do it all the time." And so I told him about our garden, and I hate that it started raining because I was going to have that in the background. But I said, "I want to steal some of your ideas because we have this much space and I can do just what you've done. And you tried to do it, but the seeds didn't take." But
Yeah, I
um,
know. I have the flowers
yeah,
didn't want to participate in this
they did
activity.
not. No, but it just things like that that do my heart good. And so like at the art center, whenever I've done a wedding and I have leftovers, we have a blessing box. And if I get to bring any extra florals home, I'll separate them out and I'll put them in solo cups. I'll put them in the blessing box. I'll put a post out on social media that says free flowers today while they last. My wedding this past weekend, we had tons of eucalyptus left over, and it was all cut in sections that were small enough to manage. Like people could just grab a bundle and go. And I put 2 big boxes of greenery out by the blessing box, and it was all gone in 2 hours. So passing those things on and thinking, okay, I'm not just going to throw this stuff away. I'm going to pass it on and give it to someone else. So even if it is not coming up with a nonprofit or planting a garden in your yard, figure out how to pay it forward with things you don't need anymore and finding organizations that can help you do that, or getting plugged in with a nonprofit that is doing things that you're interested in. And so, yeah, it just was such a blessing to meet him. I just could not stop smiling. And you're right to your point at the beginning of this. So, any of you watching that didn't see the beginning, go back and watch. John said, "I was so excited, I about peed my pants." And yes, that is true.
That's true. I
Yeah,
I can feel the excitement. So, but
yeah.
so who do you have as a guest for next week? You told me that this was something that tied together. Is it a secret?
And it's not a secret.
Not a
So,
secret.
yeah, and it is also going to be pre-recorded, but I'm going to come on and talk about it a little bit before and after the show next week. So there's an organization called Safe Haven Baby Boxes. And Monica started this organization, and it is a safe way to surrender your baby that for adoption that you cannot take care of. And it is founded based on the safe haven laws in the state of Indiana. They are all across the country and actually all around the world. I think one of the first ones that is actually known about from like 20 years ago was in South Korea. And so this is a way for young moms of any age that have become pregnant, that don't want to make the choice of abortion and want to go through with the pregnancy, but then may not be sure how they can care for it, what they can do. They haven't connected with an adoption agency. They have the baby, and then they realize they just can't do it. The safe haven law allows them to surrender their child into one of these boxes with no potential
Hold
for
on,
any
hold
kind
on.
of,
I gotta stop you. We're not gonna have one of these baby boxes at the art center, are we? I don't want to be
well,
coming
so
home and have
here's the
like
thing.
kids and stuff. Oh,
Well, you're reading my mind, but no, you can't. So the safe haven
oh,
law
okay, good.
says that they have to be placed in facilities that are 24-hour monitored. So fire stations
Fire
and
station.
hospitals.
Okay, good, good. We are
Yeah.
not 24. All right. I
No,
just
we're
wanted to
not
clear that
24
up.
hours.
Just
Yeah,
wanted to clear
because
that.
so the average, when I watched this documentary about the South Korean man who started this, their average time for the baby to be in the box before it's retrieved is like 3 minutes. So there are all kinds of alarms that go off when the door gets opened and when the baby gets put in and all that. So it has to be monitored 24/7. But anyway, I just have been so moved by her story. And yeah, so this is going to be like a two-parter. So I'm going to interview her, and that's Monica with Safe Haven Baby Boxes. And then Linda, who, and I'm not going to give you a bunch of the details because I don't want people to go out and start looking for this stuff. I want you to watch the show and then get the links and the resources when you watch the show. But Linda has worked with Monica on those babies that don't survive in the hospital and mothers leave them behind for whatever reason. Either they can't afford a burial or what have you. And Linda has it on her heart to bury these children with dignity and actually give them a name. And
Wow.
so we're going to be talking to her next week, and we'll do a show with her the following week. So,
Well, there's a couple examples of things that people could actually get involved with. I mean, there's just so much
yeah,
stuff to get involved with. Just get out there and do something, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. And again, I go back to whatever you're passionate about. So my passion all these years has been domestic violence. I'm a domestic violence survivor. And so when I found out about Sheltering Wings right after they opened 20 years ago, I said, that is where I'm giving my time because I can relate. I've been in their shoes. I know what it feels like. I know that life and trying to get out of a situation like that. And so every year in my HR career, when we were going through our United Way campaign, I would tell our people, it's one thing to give your money, which is great. All these organizations need your money. The Mars Hill Arts Center could use some donations right now. But these organizations touch your heart in a way that are so meaningful and that you want to give back to, connect with them. There are ways to volunteer. And so I would tell my story about being a domestic violence survivor and giving back to Sheltering Wings. And I've been a volunteer, I've been a board member, I've been their board chair. And so 20 plus years of giving back to that organization has been my way of serving a community of women that I'm a part of.
Yeah.
So,
And one thing I think that, folks don't realize is when you're involved with serving meals to our friends that are out on the streets or a Sheltering Wings or a
mhm,
baby box or whatever, once you get involved with those folks, and maybe you just do it for a couple years or a year or whatever, but you always have that resource. So when you run into someone on the street that may be struggling with their baby or struggling with the domestic violence or needs a place to go, or then somewhere to go. And I think that is a hidden quality that I just think that you don't realize the layers of satisfaction that you can get and the value that's added to getting involved with this. And I'll tell you that the homeless stuff really has impacted me because I had no idea that people were living in some of the places, and you wouldn't either, that are living in the places in this city and some of the conditions that people allow themselves to get into. And domestic violence. There's, some of this stuff is not for the meek, but,
right.
but
Well,
that's where we need, the harvest is plenty and the laborers are few. That's where there's most needs.
yeah. So to your point, just then to the homeless situation and the domestic violence situation, one of the ways that we've actually tried to impact that through the Art Center is with our blessing box. And in our blessing box, we have the resource cards from Sheltering Wings, and we run out all the time. Like, so they're business card size, and they have all the resource numbers for either the shelter or the crisis hotline or
Food pantries.
well, but no, this is all DV related. So,
Oh, okay.
any of the resources you may need from a domestic violence perspective, they're all the numbers on there to call. And then we also keep a list of all of the food pantries in Indianapolis by zip code. And we run out of those all the time. And I also created a QR code and put it on the inside of the wall of the blessing box that if we're out of the lists of food pantries, they can scan that. If they have a smartphone, they can scan that with their camera, and it'll take them to our website with a list of all of those food pantry locations with links to their websites. So they can just click on it and go. So but it just amazes me how many times we run out of the resource cards and the food pantry lists. It's like I'm filling those up constantly.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, hey, I think we've given our viewers, or you've given your viewers, a lot of stuff to chew on there. So
Yeah.
let's land this plane at the airport. Okay.
Yeah. Well, so in the comments, I put, Scott Brewer's Flower Garden, you pick place is at Walton and Plainview, just off of Rockville Road. So if you go just west of 465 past Bob Evans, and the first couple of neighborhood streets, you can turn on the first one or the second one, turn on to Walton, and then it's at the intersection of Plainview and Walton. And like I said, I'll put the picture out there of his little open sign so you can see what it looks like. But you can't miss the house. I mean, it's the house with all the flowers
It's got a
in
lot
the
of
front
flowers.
yard.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
tough. So, and I
Yeah,
posted
he was
the,
such a blessing. And then
I
I
put
also
the,
shared the link to the International Cities of Peace too. The peace poles are really cool. And he's actually trying to get that designated as a national holiday. So he's working with not only state officials but national officials to try to get that done.
okay. Yeah, I think we need to get Indianapolis a little more peaceful before we start
Yes.
bragging, right? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I posted that website too at the bottom there. So, all
Okay.
right. Well, I think I'll go away and let you tell everybody bye. Okay.
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned for the next couple of shows. We appreciate you. You can always go to our YouTube channel and find any of these shows after the fact. And Scarlett says good night.